federal
employees.
Over the weekend, an extraordinary message from billionaire Elon Musk, a message to every single federal worker, an ultimatum via social media. Reply to an email with 5 things you did last week or else you're out of a job. He set the deadline for midnight tonight. Nancy Cordes is at the White House. We know exactly what she did last week. I can name 5 things off the top of my head. Nancy, good morning.
Thank you so much, Shonia. This mass email is now causing mass confusion. Federal workers at the Defense and State Departments, DHS, Intel are among those at numerous agencies now being told.
Why is it? Look, see, you're doing it. You're doing it right now. There's a huge contention for people in the middle. There is no middle of a side, dude. You're just saying that you're if you have a middle of the ground position on a one fucking state currently doing a side and also enforcing an apartheid when it's not doing a side, on a good day it's doing an apartheid, then you're an individual. Both sides are the same. Do you think that there were both sides? Are you going to tell me that there were both sides in the South African apartheid? Are you going to tell me that, okay, so you, again, it's an apartheid state. Okay, got it. Were there both sides that had South African apartheid versus the ANC? Were there both sides in the Holocaust, in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising? Kilominati, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Okay, so you already admit that it's an apartheid. Is there both sides in an apartheid? I think there's a liberation without a side tipping the other way. What side? What are you talking about? The side that you're claiming could happen is pure fantasy. It's in your mind. What do you mean? A hypothetical side could occur. Yeah, guess what, dude? That's precisely what the apartheid state's position was in South Africa. That's precisely what the slavers' position was during Reconstruction in the aftermath of the abolition of slavery as well. What a ridiculous thing to say. You think I haven't heard this before? Well, this hypothetical that might happen is the reason why we have to keep doing an apartheid. Okay. Do you understand the moral bankruptcy? Do you get it now? Sorry, we just got to do a preemptive apartheid. Otherwise, there will be a side. What do you think the Nazis were arguing for? What do you think the South African state was arguing for? They were saying, yeah, if we release these black people, they will do to us what we've done to them. If we free the slaves, they will do to us what we've done to them. Hasan, your exact rhetoric right now is what has taken me from a Canadian liberal to a radical, empathetic, and leftist, and having no representation in my government. No, I think Israel is bad. Okay. All right. I guess we're in agreement then. I'm so confused as to what you're saying. Huge contention for people in the middle. What middle is there for it must be abolished? The reason why you're seeing an additional amount of this kind of sentiment being expressed is because people who have masqueraded as pro-Palestinian are flipping, okay? Or they have flipped, but at least now they're doing more overt propaganda. So a lot of people that get their notes from people like that are coming in here to try to argue the same exact stupid positions that I have talked about a million times over, okay? That's it, just so you understand. That's why I'm so pissed off. Not because of the petty crash out of a 45-year-old man with multiple children who he should be taking care of. None of the petty shit matters. What matters is having a relatively progressive audience and then priming them for pro-Israeli positions, or at least antagonistically, getting them to be antagonistic towards pro-Palestinian positions. It's ridiculous. No, you don't understand. Every single person has to defend Palestinian emancipation with the markers that I've set for them. That's it. That to me is completely unacceptable. Anyway, all right, let's get to the federal employees.
To answer it, this whole episode raising new questions about the scope and the limits of Musk's power as a special assistant to the president.
Elon is doing a great job.
After Elon Musk warned it was coming, an email went out to millions of federal workers, directing them to list 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week by midnight tonight. On his social media platform, X, Musk threatened that failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. The ultimatum coming just hours after President Trump urged Musk to get more aggressive as he works to fire thousands of government employees.
We're removing all of the unnecessary, incompetent, and corrupt bureaucrats from the federal workforce.
But even some of the president's allies are taking issue with the approach.
if I could say one thing to Elon Musk, it's like, please put a dose of compassion in this. These are real people. These are real lives.
And while a few agencies urged workers to comply with the email, the FBI told agents to pause on responding. So did the State Department, led by Marco Rubio, telling staffers that no employee is obligated to report their activities outside of their department chain of command. The Pentagon also opted out just days after the president made major personnel moves there.
What is this? What's your argument back? Okay, what's confusing about the email? If you're doing your job and being productive, then you have nothing to worry about. Brother, what are you talking about? You think this is a perfectly valid thing to do in the middle of the weekend, to be like, hey, sorry, you have until the end of Monday, the workday, to respond to what kind of 5 bullet points, with 5 bullet points, what kind of work you've done in the past month, or else you're fired. Do you not wonder why so many other people, including Trump's own FBI pick, was like, yeah, you don't have to do that. Get the f out of here. You can't do that, man. What are you talking about? Thank God there is at least some semblance of labor rules and regulations around that sort of thing. A non-response is not a resignation. What if you didn't see the email? What are you talking about? What if it got buried? What if it was in your spam folder? There's a million different reasons as to why that would be completely unacceptable. Subject to the discretion of the president, they will be given another chance. Failure to respond a second time will result in termination. That's what he said 40 minutes ago. Guy who tweets 138 times a day, by the way. Past week, not month. Okay. Shit, dude. Were you on vacation? Guess what? You're cooked. Were you actually working so you didn't see the email? Guess what? You're cooked. That's not how this works. Also, if you personally think that he is going to scour through all of those emails and not just simply use this as a way to just unjustifiably fire a bunch of other employees, not even fire, consider them to have resigned, you're out of your mind. While traveling for work myself, I overheard a government employee over 6 years talk about the email, how his boss told him to ignore it. Then while on vacation, was then told not to respond to it. Yeah. 3 million federal employees, x 10 minutes of writing, reading equals 57 years. Hasanabi, as a federal employee, this shit is insane. I'm stressed out of my mind about my dog who I got during work from home. For the last 5 years, I have to worry about losing my job. They told us today we could ignore the email. Yeah, most departments already told them to ignore the email, and it's not real anyway. Did you just link a Will Stancil? Megaphonics. Will Stancil? Really? There wasn't a better person? What are we doing here? Technically, they have a formal fire with cause action given to federal employees, so they can't technically fire them like this. So that's why many are ignoring it.
Just made a huge unforced error that's pretty bad, and I'm going to explain how.
I mean, this person is permanently
he
wrong.
sent an email to the entire federal government, and that email demanded that everyone respond with 5 things they did last week.
I didn't even know this is what Will Stancil looked like.
They respond by Monday evening. He didn't say it's an email, but on Twitter he said if you didn't respond, you're essentially turning in your resignation and you're going to be fired. This is kind of a classic bad boss thing. Making a demand on Saturday afternoon and expecting to be done by Monday evening, on a whim. But the problem here is that the federal government is 2 million people. It's over 2 million people. So you've sent out this email to a workforce larger than the state of Nebraska. And because of this, it's apparent that what he's demanding is completely unenforceable. I mean, first of all, the email address that he wants you to reply to is public. Here it is. If you want to send an email to it right now, listing 5 things you did last week, and throw a wrench into their gears, you can absolutely do that. Not that I'm encouraging it. I am encouraging it. But more than that, who's going to go through millions of emails and decide who's getting fired? Doge has about 30 employees. So if they all read emails all day long, they wouldn't get through a fraction of them. And then you have to match them to government records, see who's actually a government worker. And you have to decide whether or not the replies were adequate. What did someone just list that they drank coffee and hung out? Did they just list 5 words from the dictionary? Did they provide an actual response? Making matters worse, a couple of departments have actually explicitly instructed their employees to not reply. That includes the FBI. It includes the State Department. The union for some federal workers has also said not to reply. Musk has doubled down on this. He said that the people who replied immediately with good responses should get promotions. But of course, who's going to read all of those? You're still talking about thousands and thousands of emails. And it's a really good idea to promote people based on immediately replying to a Saturday email. What about people on vacation? What about people who are on maternity? Some people have said AI.
He literally he said everything I have said so far, Megaphonics. He brought forth 0 new points. Like, we watched 2 minutes of the 3-minute and 48-second video, and it unironically repeated verbatim every single thing that I have said so far about like why this is impossible to conduct. The sauces at the end.
Yeah,
all right, let's see.
But I don't think AI really has the capability to read thousands of emails, match some of the employment records, evaluate the content of the emails, and then make hiring or firing decisions. At the very least, you're going to get thousands of errors, and that's going to open you up to thousands of lawsuits. And so here's where this gets really bad for Elon Musk. It's apparent from this that this is a completely toothless demand. And that highlights what Doge is. It is a quasi-agency with very limited legal authority. Up until now, Doge has been able to trample over the federal government because people thought that it had authority. It could come into an office and demand access to records or whatever, and people basically just obeyed. But now Musk has set up a government-wide demonstration of Doge's lack of authority. And what that does is it undercuts that veneer of credibility that the agency relied on. Now people know that if they get a request from Doge, the person they should go to is their immediate supervisor, the one that they are obliged by law to follow. They say, is this real? Do I need to listen to these guys? And usually the answer is not going to be yes. Elon Musk has essentially been acting as a tyrant ruling over the federal government. And if you're a tyrant, the last thing you can afford is someone demonstrating non-compliance with no consequences. But he has set up hundreds of thousands of demonstrations like that in almost every agency in the government. And once that authority is gone, he has no way to restore it. He can go around and beg people to let him in or say, I'm in charge, but they don't know who to listen to. And they'd probably rather listen to their supervisor, who they know, and their agency head, who's in their traditional chain of command, than some random billionaire who just walked in the door. So I think this could be the moment where the thinness and the flimsiness of the entire project begins to fall apart. I've been wrong before.
Yeah, you have.
Fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
This is a good point. I don't know why people are shitting on him because it's Will Stancil, and he's like permanently wrong. His number one claim to fame over the course of the past like year and a half was that the cost of living crisis that everyone was screaming about was completely made up. He is the ultimate lib. Like, he has the most like, no, but the graph says there's marginal improvements guy. Okay. Like, it was crazy. And he still to this day refuses to reckon with it either. Like, he does not recognize. He just kept saying it's a vibe session. I don't know. I just, and it's interesting because like, I did think Republicans have a lot of partisan loyalties. And although the Republican attitude towards the economy was slated to improve, it hasn't. 52% of Americans still are saying that they're experiencing a cost of living crisis, that the economy is not doing great. So even after Donald Trump assumed the role, Republicans are still angry. Part of that, a big part of that is the eggs. Why do you hate all liberal content creators when y'all should be united right now? I think they hate me more than I hate them. I don't really think about them at all. I rarely think about them. By the way, I mean, the point of the it's just vibes and people are not experiencing the cost of living crisis that they're definitely experiencing is technically a Republican position. It's just being championed by a liberal because that's what the Democratic Party has become, which is like the Republicans of the fucking 90s, with exceptions on social issues.
C.Q. Brown, and the chief of the U.S. Navy, whom Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth once derided as inexperienced and suggested she was only promoted because she is a woman.
The president deserves to pick his key national security and military advisory team.
Democratic Senator Jack Reed slammed the moves.
It's the beginning of a very, very serious degradation of the military and politicization of the military.
Trump intends to nominate retired Air Force Lieutenant General Dan Raisin Kane to replace General C.Q. Brown. He'd be the first three-star general named to be Joint Chiefs Chairman. And in another move, last night, Trump announced that conservative podcaster and former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino will serve as deputy director of the FBI under Kash Patel, second in command at the agency is traditionally a career agent, but Bongino actually lacks any FBI experience. However, like Patel, he has been a fierce defender of the president, Vlad.
All right, Nancy, thank you very much.
Question about Doge, sir. Do you think that Doge could benefit from more streamlined communications? There was that email telling employees to give 5 things that they've done last week. Agency heads then told people to ignore it, but
You're
Elon
talking
Musk...
about the last email that was sent where he wanted to know what you did?
What the fuck? Why was I muted? What are we doing when Bongino arrests me? I don't know. I'm just hoping that as a fellow podcaster, he won't arrest me.
This week. You know why he wanted that, by the way? I thought it was because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist. They're trying to find, that's how badly various parts of our government were run by, and especially by this last group. So what they're doing is they're trying to find out who's working for the government. Are we paying other people that aren't working? And, you know, where's all that? Where's the money going? We have found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud so far, and we've just started. We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there, because maybe somebody stole the gold. Tons of gold.
Some of the agencies...
So I think it was actually, there was a lot of genius in sending it. We're trying to find out if people are working. And so we're sending a letter to people, please tell us what you did last week. If people don't respond, it's very possible that there is no such person or they're not working.
Some of the agency heads instructed their employees not to respond because they were waiting on further guidance, but Elon Musk's tweet said a failure to respond would be taken as a resignation. So there's been a disconnect in communications. Yeah. Are you concerned at all about that?
No. That was done in a friendly manner. Only things such as perhaps Marco at State Department where they have very confidential things, or the FBI where they're working on confidential things. And they don't mean that in any way combatively with Elon. They're just saying there are some people that you don't want to really have them tell you what they're working on last week. But other than that, I think everyone thought it was a pretty ingenious idea. We have to find out where these people are. Who are they? And we said if you don't respond, we assume you're not around.
And that holds, that stands.
And you're not getting paid anymore, too. So, you know, we're doing a real job. And we just had a poll come out, I guess the Harvard poll, saying that it's...
That's also so funny because, like, how the fuck is Elon supposed to make adequate assessments over 2 million federal employees? Like, it's not like they're saying, like, report to your department head who knows exactly what your job is supposed to be. Like, how is this supposed to work? Yeah, using AI, I know. Brilliant guy. That's surely supposed to work. It's just a way to... It is just, I know they're using AI chat. I know, it's just, what have I told you before? AI only works if you are trying to do a bad job. Okay? AI only works if you want plausible deniability. AI does not work when it's supposed to give you anything accurate. It's just a way to say, oh, we analyzed it. We interpreted all the information that we got through a sophisticated AI product, and, you know, we found out that this random number of people were fired with just cause. Not even fired. Some of them were fired with just cause. Others who did not respond resigned, which is extra illegal. You can't even force someone to resign like that.
It's massively popular what we're doing.
Yeah, it's massively popular.
It's the Doge ultimatum. Elon Musk emailing over 2 million federal workers with this subject line. What did you do?
I think one of the funniest aspects of this is like this is so perfect for dumb guys, you know? Like this type of stuff is so good for the dumbest guy you know. You know what I mean? Your coworker, the coworker conversations that you've had where it's like, yeah, the government's supposed to run like a business. Like, we need a good businessman in charge of the government. Like, and then this is literally the run like a business shit. I don't understand. Why don't they just write 5 points like about what they've done and then problem solved? Okay, what happens when 100,000 employees are still fired, even though they were doing their fucking jobs? Like, you're the one having the conversation, Law? Wait, what do you mean? It's just, What's really fucking idiotic about this is like they already did this with the probationary employees, and that led to tremendous problems. Tremendous problems such as, you know, firing people on the Department of Energy side that were in charge of the nukes, or firing people on the, I believe it was the CDC side that was, or the FDA side, that was directly tasked with combating the current avian flu. They had to go back and be like, oops, my bad. We got to rehire these guys. Kaya, no, get back there. I had to get dental work this morning, so unfortunately I didn't get her energy out. That's why she's walking around annoyed. But I'm gonna take her out later. Make her roam the streets.
Really critical for people to understand. Look at this map. That is a map of where federal workers are who are living in the states that Trump won. Look at that number. It's almost 1 million people. So yes, it's own Washington, drain the swamp, all the things. But the reason why we are starting to see and hear more concern and even backlash around the country, and even from Republican House members and senators, is because these are their constituents.
Correct. And I think there's a broader political question here, which is, does the American public at large care about these federal workers? Most people
really critical for people to understand.
Live in red states that voted for Trump is so stupid. Some of those states are literally like half red, half blue. I mean, it doesn't matter. The point is still that it's not even red states. There's Republicans in blue states that work for the federal government. Like, you are firing Republicans, okay? You shouldn't be firing anybody. It's ridiculous. You should be hiring more people, not firing people. The federal government needs more workers, not less, okay?
Last week, it simply asked them to list 5 things they accomplished at work and says not replying by midnight tonight would be taken as a resignation. However, Fox News can confirm that the Office of Personnel Management has told agency heads that they don't reply to the 5 things emails and that the administration will work with the individual departments. And while that all gets sorted out, President Trump is gladly backing up the Doge mail by posting SpongeBob memes and doubling down at the White House.
I thought it was great, because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist. They're trying to, that's how badly various parts of our government were run by, and especially by this last group.
Musk is also brushing off the backlash, saying that this email is a very basic pulse check. But of course, there is outrage. Democratic Senator Tina Smith calling Musk a bad boss and using some salty words to say it. And others in the press were equally outraged.
Elon Musk has zero legal authority to fire government employees or force their resignations. These people don't report to Elon Musk.
This nonsensical email from Elon Musk acting like we're in kindergarten.
It's like an own the libs, make you cry more sort of environment, right? Where both Trump and Musk are performing for the MAGA base.
The new Trump administration is reveling in its bare knuckle approach to governing.
This is so sloppy.
At this stage, Republicans could be like, we're just going to nuke Arkansas. And Fox News the next morning would be like, these fucking dumbass libtards are undermining our glorious president's fantastic opinions on nuking Arkansas. Do you understand? How stupid can you be? Who cares about Arkansas? It should be nuked. It's, after all, free real estate. Once we nuke the entire state of Arkansas, you guys are so dumb. These dumb libtards, once again, getting mad. It's like, what are you doing? They just do not care at all about any of the consequences, dude. I say glass Arkansas now. Restore glory to the nation. Yeah, I saw this. Maybe FAFO can be the enforcement arm of Doge. Oh, bleh. Ay.
With the way Elon Musk is handling this.
All right. So earlier today, Greg, the Harvard-Harris poll came out and said 76% of Americans support.
Scoop, at least some of Trump's firings of probationary employees are unlawful, according to an oversight agency investigating these actions. Those workers could be reinstated into their jobs this week, creating a path for tens of thousands of recently fired feds to be rehired. Either you like it or not, what? Trump is a sociopath and a master manipulator. He's fooling everyone and distracting everyone, and no one else sees how many steps ahead he actually is in the sociopathic game. He's using Elon as a shield. The way he did with JD Vance, scapegoating at his best. It's all a show. What does that even mean? Like, I don't think it's some brilliant tactic, man. I think he just straight up is doing what Republican libertarians have fantasized about for the longest time. Anyway, too brilliant for you? Yeah, we just don't understand. I don't have a high enough IQ to understand what the hell Trump is doing. Judge Colleen Collar-Coatley, is there an administrator of Doge at the present time? I don't know the answer to this as government counsel. Preliminary injunction hearing at 2 p.m. today at Doge, on Doge access to Treasury records. Doge is in court. This email shit's going to make approval ratings dip. Not that it matters. I don't know what this Harvard poll is, by the way. I don't know what
earlier
this is.
today, Greg, the Harvard-Harris poll came out and said 76% of Americans support what Doge is trying to do, asking people to show their work. The American Federation of Government Employees, that's the union, said that the email was cruel and disrespectful. What say you?
First of all,
76% of Americans agree with just like random firings of federal government employees. What the fuck is going on? As President Trump's lawyers, the U.S. attorneys, we are proud to fight to protect his leadership as our president, and we're vigilant in standing against entities like the AP that refuse to put America first. Wait, what the fuck? The DOJ is not the personal law firm of the president. The Attorney General represents the United States in legal matters generally. Sick. I still think the Republicans are 100% using Musk as a fall guy to go out and do all the unhinged destruction of government they all want so they can eventually throw him under the bus and save some face. Oh, maybe. Wait, where's the Harvard poll? I want to see it. I want to see this fucking Harvard poll. Just to recap events here from Steve Morris over at The Recount. A married Republican congressman has been having an affair for a year. That woman called the police and told them he assaulted her and allowed them to listen as he instructed her to lie about her injury's origin. Upon police arrival, she showed them bruises the officers called fresh. The woman recanted her story after being told he would be arrested. The D.C. police nonetheless sent a warrant for his arrest. The U.S. Attorney's Office today proclaimed itself President Trump's lawyers refused to sign it. D.C. police said they sent an arrest warrant to Representative Corey Mills to the U.S. Attorney's Office on Friday. It has not been signed, and police said the case was sent back to them for further investigation. Sources say it may never result in charges. Also, Harvard-Harris poll has, at least by my estimation, fallen out of favor in recent years with all the fucking insane shit that they did with Israel. This story is psychotic, dude. What? Trump is going to elevate him now. He's going to be like, oh, dude, you're a fucking spousal abuser? Oh, my God. Let me bring you into the Department of Defense. That's what, yeah, he hit his prereqs. He hit his prereqs for advancement. Anyway, approval and mood of the country. Voters are more optimistic about the direction of the country since the new administration. Country, right track, wrong track. Those who say right track, 124, 10%. Now, holy shit, 71%. Holy shit. God damn. Independents went from 26 to 31%. Like, look at this. 125, 34%. 75%. Democrats went from 52% to 21%. God damn, dude. Republicans are so rabid. I swear to God.
The reboot.
We already watched this, didn't we? Oh, no, this is a new one. Ruh-roh. Oh, God. Fucking Harry Enton. All right, let's see.
Not as well received as the original. Economy is currently good or excellent. Look at this. In April of 2017, it was 40%. Look at where we are in February of 2020.
Yeah, no shit. He didn't fix anything. Like, this is the one thing you can't really, like, you can't just, like, trans away the problem. You know what I mean? Republicans unironically thought maybe Will Stancil was right.
Just half that level. 20%. My goodness gracious. The term one high was 63% of Americans in February of 2020 thought the economy was excellent or good. This 20% we have currently going on right now is fewer Americans.
Yeah, this is just Republicans, okay? This is just like the Republicans that are already rich. or, you know, have some kind of like upper middle class position. For them, it's like, oh, dude, it's excellent now. Now that the Republicans are in charge, it's
Saying
excellent.
the economy is excellent or good, then at any point during Trump's first term, this is not a good sign, Kate Baldwin.
J.D. Vance said last week, you got to give them time, even though that's not what they promised in the campaign. They said they bring prices down day one. But what is the view of the future economy then?
Yeah, so this is the current economy. How about the future economy? Is the economy getting worse or better? And all I can say is, yikes. Yikes. Again, compare it to where we were in the first term at this point, April of 2017, 53%. The majority said it was getting better. How about now in February of 2025? The majority say it's getting worse. 59% compared to just 35% who say it's getting better. Worse is higher now than at any point in Trump's first term pre-COVID. This number, to me, is much more worrisome. It's perhaps the worst number I've seen for Trump on the economy, because it says even if the economy now isn't great, they also project that it's only going to get worse from here. This is a big yikes.
And fold in inflation, just like general views on inflation.
Yeah, okay. So I think the question is, what's exactly cooking here? What is going on? You know, there's this whole idea that Trump was going to bring down inflation, right, Kate? So what are Americans actually saying? You know, are Google searches for inflation going down or going up? They're going up. They're up 123% from February of 2017. And more than that, perhaps even more important, they're up 23% from last month. Americans' fears about inflation are not going away. They are as interested in it as they were by the end of the Joe Biden administration. And the bottom line is they're far more interested in it than they were at any point during Donald Trump's first term. As I said at the beginning, the reboot, the sequel, is not being anywhere near as well received as the original when it comes to Donald Trump and the economy.
Let us see. Harry.
I mean, this part is whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But when you get to the question in the Harris poll, please help people understand how the questions are phrased. They literally push poll questions. Things like, does the government have waste? Therefore, Doge is helping. Agree. Oh, they did that. Dude, the Harris, the Harvard Caps Harris poll is so incredibly busted. They've been, oh my God. In his first month as president, Trump enjoys majority approval of 52%. Do you disapprove or approve of the president, Donald J. Trump, doing his job as the president of the United States? Okay, that's fine. That's a normal, that's a normal question. Handling key issues, has majority approval on immigration, reducing government costs, and returning America to its values. Returning America to its values, 53%. Reducing the cost of the government, 53%. Handling inflation, 45%. Administering the government, 49%. Meanwhile, Dem Party approval has slipped to just 36% of voters approving how they're handling their job. That's not confusing. RFK Jr., Trump, Vance, and Gabbard all enjoy net favorability while perceptions of key Dems are underwater. Now, let's skip. Okay, small majority support giving citizenship of children of illegal immigrants, and over 3 in 5 say the Constitution requires anyone born to be a U.S. citizen. Obviously, besides renaming the Gulf of Mexico, each of Trump's policies tested received strong majority support, especially border security and reducing government waste. Yeah, that's funny. That like the only thing that is pissing off people is renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. God, Americans are so dumb. Anyway, most voters say the government should hire based on merit. At the same time, it works to prevent discrimination. Okay. So literally how it was. Okay, got it. Okay, so most voters say things were fine the way that they are, even though the Republicans lie and say that, they're not that way. Okay, voters are split on whether DEI departments are needed in government or not. 51% say needed. Most voters are satisfied with their 2024 presidential choice. 8% Harris voter who is now satisfied with Trump is crazy. 6% Trump voter who wishes Harris won. Oh, God, we're so fucking cooked. A plurality of voters say Trump's policies will make them financially better off, but also say inflation will increase. Voters are divided on whether Trump will make the world more stable or chaotic. Do you think Donald Trump's actions will unify or divide the country? Divide, 54%. 46% say unify. Do you think Donald Trump's policies will make the world more stable? 45%. Make the world